So this puts you in pretty high company, you know, as far as other coaches with longer careers. Is that any kind of pressure for you?
It's not at all. It's funny because that's the second time I've been asked that today. I didn't even think about it. I think I thought more about what we've done here, and just the opportunity, and I haven't even put much thought into that.
PJ Brown.
He's not stressed at all, for sure.
Hi, Mateo. How you doing? So what does this new contract mean for women and women's basketball? What does it say about Arizona in terms of the nation for women's basketball?
Well, it says that the University of Arizona is committed to women's basketball, is investing in women's basketball. I think that, for many years, I think if women's basketball has not been a focal point here at Arizona, it's been like definitely an afterthought, has not had a lot of success since Joan. So I think, when I took the job at Arizona, I was the lowest paid in all Power Five. So I think that just to go from that, a total transformation to after 5 years, to just see what Dave's been able to do, and President Robbins. So it says a lot about the future and what they're willing to invest in. And I think that's the important thing.
Teresa Rusnak.
Hey, Coach. Thank you for your time. Oh, hi. Sorry.
Hi.
Had a bit of a lag. Thank you for your time, Coach. I just had a question, a little more generalizing about what did it mean for your program to make history competing, but then also you having made history personally back as a player. So being able to do that as a player and coach.
Yeah, so because as a player, the furthest we had gone was the Sweet 16. So I think just to come back as a coach and to be able to reach new heights and do something really special, just means me, especially do that at my alma mater. And I think just as a woman, as a coach, as someone to bring your school back to just experience something different, leave our legacy, it's meaningful. I think it always means a little bit more when it's just a place where everything started for you. So like for me at 17, Mateo, you have to move. Me at 17, everything started here for me. And 17 to play here, and we started to build. It was kind of on the same trajectory as me as a coach. And then to do that and just do it in the fashion we did, it just means a lot. You have to move, Mateo.
Greg Hansen.
Hey, Adia, I was wondering, when Kelly Graves got his new contract, and it goes up to almost $1.4 million a year, did you then think that the salary market might be changing?
Well, I think just the Pac-12 was changing. So the Pac-12 was just really far behind even the SEC. So I think just, to have like Kelly Graves' new contract, obviously Tara is in like a different playing field. It's like Tara, then you don't even consider yourself Tara because just all the stuff she's done. And then for Kelly Graves to have the new contract, it helps all of us. It helps all of us because it's just the Pac-12 is growing. I mean, we are light years behind SEC. I mean, it's not even comparable, or the Big 12 or the ACC and all those conferences. So just to see the commitment that Oregon's made to Kelly, the commitment that Arizona's made to me and the program, it means a lot. Because I think it's also we're very different, because the SEC, you can have 100,000 football fans, and we haven't had that. And at Arizona, we haven't had that success in a while with football. So I think it just shows that they're investing in our program, because I know it's not easy to do that.
Michelle Vopel.
Yeah, Coach Barnes, this is Michelle from ESPN.com. Can you just sort of talk about a little bit? You've had such a raise in your profile, if you will. I know you were on the NBC Inspirers on this past weekend, and so many people, even outside of women's basketball, have looked to you for all the things that you're balancing. What's it been like, just from your perspective, with everything that's happened even since the start of the NCAA tournament?
I mean, it's just like a whirlwind. It's kind of like a blur. It's just all the things that we've done as a team when no one thought we could. If you would have told me at the beginning of the year, oh, you guys are going to go play for a championship, I would have said, huh? Like I said, oh, slow down. I don't know about that yet. So I think just all the things we've been able to accomplish in a very pressing year, in a year with COVID, a year with so much adversity. I mean, it's just been phenomenal. And just the whole journey and the process and the way we did it was just special with the team we did it. I mean, you think about our team and think about who we are. We weren't the most talented team. We had one McDonald's All-American. Every team that we faced from Texas A&M on had probably like 5 or at least numerous. So just being the underdogs and achieving what we did is special. So I'm riding this wave. It's meaningful, and now the bar is set higher at Arizona. So now it's not going to be, are we going to the tournament? It's going to be like we need to go far. What's motivating me intrinsically is I don't want to just go to the Final Four one time and then be one and done. Oh yeah, Aari left. They're never going to go again. So I am motivated every day with the relentless pursuit of greatness. And like, I want to bring us back there. So I'm trying to figure out how can we get back there and win a championship. So that's my motivation right now.
Ryan
Thank you.
Kelliher.
So kind of along those lines, I mean, this is the first time we've talked to you since you got those 3 transfers. Can you just kind of take us through what you're expecting them to bring to the program?
Yeah, so when I think about how we've had success, transfers have really been like so valuable for us. So you think about Aari, I recruited Aari before, Bendu, I recruited her before at a different school. And then, or I recruited actually Bendu here, and then she went to a different school. So she chose us the second time. And then I look at like TT, Dominique, those are players that really helped build the start of all the success. And so when I'm thinking about ways to make us a little better and like fill in the gaps, and I look at the areas that we weren't great in the tournament, like we had a tough time inside. So when Stanford they made a conscious effort to pound the ball inside, we had problems. So then my thing is like, okay, what can I do? How can I fill that void? So I think Aria Copeland is a very, she's a necessity, and we haven't had a pound the ball inside post player. And then look at Coy. Coy's really versatile. She can score. She can play the 3-4. That's an area that I felt like we haven't had a whole lot. We really missed Dominique because she played so many roles, but we haven't had like a really big time scorer in that spot. So Coy's that. I mean, Coy's a really good player, versatile, and can fill a lot of roles for us. And then Taylor Chavez, someone I loved, playing against. Well, I didn't love playing against her, but I loved her game. I loved the way she was scrappy, and she was a great shooter. She was fearless, tough, and she was someone who I actually tried to recruit when I first got here. She didn't give me the time of day because we were awful. Now she's like, I'd love to play for you. I was like, oh, things have changed now. Now you want to date me, right? Before you thought I was ugly, right? It's kind of like that. You think a guy's ugly, then you go back 5 years, you're like, whoa, he's fine, So that's kind of how Taylor was with me. So the fact that, and what I loved about Taylor is when I talked to her, she was like, Coach, I was watching you, Coach. And like, she was kind of like excited when I called. So that felt good because I was like, I'm excited about you too. And I feel like after the tournament, I felt that more. So it wasn't like having to sell this vision like I did to everybody else. Aari, I had to say, Aari, we're going to try, we're going to find a way. I don't know what it looks like. It was very different. So it's a totally different tone. So Coy filling a huge void. Taylor can play that 2, that 1, can shoot it. So multiple guard positions for us. Smart, fearless competitor, worker, and plays good defense. And then Aria, just a bucket inside. I mean, if you look at Aria in the SEC, 14-9, one of the nation's best field goal percentage shooters. So I think she's going to dominate Pac-12. There aren't a lot of players like her. So I think just those are 3 great additions, and I'm looking to add one more. And one more I think we're very close to getting. So I think we have a good shot. And I think with her, I think we have a chance to be a more complete team than we were last year. Now there's all kinds of factors. There's chemistry and different things, but I think on paper we'll be more talented because what I'm looking for is for our team to have balance. I don't want like one player, Aari was so good, like one player 25 points, and I want like one player 14, one player 16, one player 13. I want 4 to 5 players in double digits. So that'll be the kind of balance we're looking for. Because I think to be a championship team, you have to have that.
Do you expect your style of play to change at all? Because if you look at, having Kate and Aria and Coy, those are all, they're to me, those are like 4s and 5s as opposed to 3. And then you don't have Aari as well. to
Yeah,
press
so it's
the
not
ball.
going to change like our identity, and because I think we were one of the best defensive teams in the country. But obviously, some of it will shift because Aries not picking the ball at full court. But then we have Shayna. Shayna can be just, she's not there yet, but she can be just as good defensively if she really wants to, because she is one of the best athletes you'll ever see. She's a freak athlete with so much ability. So we just have to extract that from her. But I think she's very capable. Where we'll have to change our style a little bit, we'll teach Koi our system, just like we taught Trinity. Trinity could not spell defense at Virginia Tech. She did not play defense. She did not know how to. I remember watching the film saying, oh, dang, we got to work on our defense. And I remember talking to her about it saying, you do not play defense. But it wasn't like something that was emphasized there. Offense was emphasized. So she got so much better defensively because she wanted to, and she was bought in. So work on Koi's defense. And then after that, Araya. Now is Araya going to go out and full court play? No, she's not, but she's a bucket inside. So with her, we'll probably plug the area, contain the paint a little bit more. She's the back of the press, which doesn't matter because the big girls are the back of the press anyways. So we'll use her in different ways, but then on offense, you got to guard her inside. And I was just with USA Basketball, and I was talking to Dawn and some of the South Carolina players. They were like, "Oh, she's so good." They were like, Aaliyah Boston was saying, "I couldn't move her." It was kind of interesting to hear that. So I'm excited about her. I think she'll give us a totally different look inside and just a post presence.
Teresa, go ahead.
Hey, Coach, one more for me. This is just a little bit kind of about what you were able to bring light to, especially as a working mom, when you were in the locker room pumping and stuff.
Yeah.
Was it surprising to you to kind of bring that to light as a mom who's balancing being a coach and doing that for so many women who do it behind the scenes, but you kind of put it on a national level?
Well, so the funny thing is, I would have never brought it to light because it's something I've always done. So the reason why it was brought to light was because, like, normally I have a system and I would pump, like, I'd take the last 23 minutes exactly, and I would pump for 20, and I would have 3 minutes to put my stuff away and walk on the court. So I had a system. Well, what threw off my system was the time we had to go to the game for the championship game and the media obligation. So as soon as I got to the gym, instead of talking to the team and pumping, I had media stuff. So I had 12 minutes at the end to pump. I didn't have time to do it. And so I said, I'll be okay. And then during the game, I was kind of like, ooh, okay. Like, probably it's been like 3 hours now, as a woman, if you've done it 3 hours, you got to go do what you got to do. So I remember my fear being, if I don't pump now, I risk having like milk on my shirt in a national championship game in front of 5 million people. And that was my fear. It wasn't the fact that I would pump at halftime. It was like, that cannot happen. I need 5 minutes. So it was like a necessity. So I remember speed walking the halftime and saying, sorry guys, I got to pump for 5 minutes, while the players, like, we always give the players 5 to 7 minutes at the very beginning. So it didn't affect the players. So I was just saying, okay, here are the 3 adjustments offense, defensively, and let me pump. So I was pumping in front of all my whole staff, which I didn't care at that point because I needed to do it. And then so I pump. And we have like 10 minutes at that time now. So I go to talk to the team, but I still had some of my pumping stuff on. So then I go talk to the team. I'm talking. I'm like, and my trick is to tuck the cover in here, and then the cover comes off. So all you see is like these plastic pump things, and everybody kind of went for a second. And I was like, oh, I picked it up off the floor. I put it back, and I was like, sorry. And then everybody started cracking up. So it kind of broke the ice, even though it's a joke on me. It broke the ice but it was just something I had to do. So I didn't think national championship game. I was just thinking, I don't want to be embarrassed, And then I was kind of, after that, I let the players go back on the court because they had to warm up, and I had to take off my stuff. So I was running a little bit later to get out to the game. So I didn't ever tell anybody I was coming, because normally I just like do all my thing, rush out and go, like act like nothing happened. And someone told Holly Rowe what I was doing. That's why I was coming out so late. So then that's how it came out, but it's not something I would have said. I would have just kind of done it. And so for me, after it was said, I was like, yeah, that's what I was doing. But it's just something women do. And like, I can't say, oh, wait, don't fill up anymore. Like, wait for me. It doesn't work like that. So I just had to do it. And I didn't think it was such a big deal until everybody was telling me, and like, it brought so much, but that's kind of what we do, right?
Thanks, Coach.
Yeah.
Greg Hansen.
Wait, Greg, you're on mute. You're on mute, Greg.
Can you see the transfer process remaining this prolific into the foreseeable future?
I think it's going to be worse. And the
Worse?
reason why, yeah, I think there's going to be more. And the reason why I say that is because during this COVID year, it's been very different. So just think, we haven't seen kids in like 2 years, like the underclassmen, and no one's been able to visit campus like in a year and a half. So we've had so many players commit to schools sight unseen. So I think you're going to see like, I think not, so in a year or a year or two, you're going to see way more kids in the portal, in my opinion. Because like, think about like Kaylin, even for us, Kaylin's coming here and she's never been here. So like, she's from Florida. She's never been in the state of Arizona. So if she comes here, she may say, I hate cactus, like who knows? So I don't know. So I just think going to a place where you've never been, I think it's just, it's harder. Normally you'd have been, normally think of now, we've been under a dead period. So in a typical year, we would have all of our visits in April, May. But now this year it's dead until June. No one comes in June, and in June, none of our kids are here. So we're going to have all these visits in June without players. And so it's also going to be different because they're not meeting their teammates. Like if April, May, all the players are here. So the visits are going to be so different. It's going to be totally different.
BJ Brown?
So with all the accomplishments you've had in the past month, how does, having Lauren make the get to go to tryouts next week for the under 19 team for World Cup, how does that help your program?
It helps our program just because to get an invite means she's one of the top. And I think just the opportunity means a lot. We've known about it for about 2 or 3 weeks now. So I think it's a tremendous opportunity for her to compete against the best. So regardless of if she makes the team or not, just the experience, you're going to see her come back way more motivated, because that's kind of what those things do. You kind of see what it takes. It's a different sense of motivation, a different commitment. You get to compete against the best, kind of see what you need to work on. So I think you're just hungrier after. So regardless if she makes it or not, it's a tremendous experience to have a chance to be invited for USA Basketball. Like, I've never done that. So I'm hoping it's a new sense of, just motivation for Lauren. And I think she has a chance to make it. But I saw that list, and that list is pretty darn good. So I'm hoping she competes, gets better, and gets her name in USA Basketball, because if she works, she's a player that can play USA Basketball.
Pat Paris?
Hi, Adia. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Can you take me through the process and when your name gets mentioned with a Baylor and you have to at least contemplate it, and how did that process go? And besides the obvious, why did you stick with it?
Yeah, so I love Arizona. This is a place where it all started for me. So it started for me at 17, and I've never been someone who's only motivated by money. I think money always comes. I've never, as a player, I've never chosen a place just because of more money. So I've always think about the people. I always think about my happiness, my quality of life. All those things are really important to me. So for me, I love Arizona. I love the fact that this is a place where I can write the story. So I came back here. Everybody said not to come. And everybody said it's a bad job. I don't think it was a great job when I took it. I think it was not a good job. But it meant so much to me because I was from here. This is where I played. So I took it, and I think I've made it a good job. And, with the players and the staff and all the support I have. So I write the story here. I don't have to follow behind someone. We kind of do it together. We leave our legacy and build it. And my challenge is to build it into a powerhouse and pursue a championship. I think at a lot of other places, when you go behind a legend, or I think that's hard because you're always compared to someone else. Like going behind Tara would be a really hard job, because Tara is incredible. She just won a championship, and you're always compared. I think it's a similar situation here at Arizona. If you go behind Lou, it's a really hard thing because you're compared it on the court, off the court, all those things. So it's challenging. And it doesn't mean it can't be done. I don't feel like there's anywhere I couldn't go and be successful, but it's where you want to be, where you want to live, how you feel. Like I love the community. I feel good. I have valuable friendships here. My kids are happy. So like it's not only money, because if it was all about money, I wouldn't have been here for years. Like it's not the first time I've been talked to. So I want to do something special here. I think when you do something great and you do it the right ways, I think the money and all the other stuff comes. So that's not the most important thing that I'm thinking about. What I want to do with my life and my happiness. So,
Thanks.
Ryan Gallagher?
Yeah, you mentioned adding another transfer. I mean, what do you see as your team's biggest needs, and how are you going to deal with having 15 or 16 scholarship players? I know you've said in the past that it's really difficult to keep that many players happy.
yeah, it is. I think the magic number is probably 13. It is, but I think where we're at and what we have a chance to do, I think we can be very special. I think we can compete at the highest level. And I think just because the way our personnel is working out, it's just going to be very competitive. But I think that's a good problem. I think when you're building a championship team, you're going to have to compete, and it should be deep at every position. I think that if I was adding one more piece, it would have to be a really good piece. And I think the point guard position, because right now, we have Shayna, who's a point guard who can play the 1-2, and then we have I think one more point guard would be great because Taylor can play the 1, 2, or 3. Anna Gret could play a little bit 1, but doesn't really want to. So I think having one more point guard, I think great teams have 3 options for point guards, and then so in our position, in our like system, a point guard, 2 point guards can play together. So it like Taylor can play with the new person, or Taylor and Shayna can play together. So I think there's a really good point guard out there that's available, and someone I'm pursuing very heavily, and I think we'll have a really good relationship with. So I'm really going to try really hard to get her. I think she'd be incredible in our system, and I'm pursuing her as best as I can.
Looks like we got one more question here. It'll be Kim Doss.
So you talk about that, about bringing more players in for next year. But what kind of logjam do you think about the next year, the logjam if players come back, like Kate, say, came back for that extra year or something like that? Has that crossed your mind?
No, I haven't even thought about that because, I'm just thinking about preparing a team and building a great team for this year so we can do the things we did last year. Like Araya's a 5th year, so she has 1 year. Taylor's gonna have 2 years. Coy can have 3 years. So I think that's something that I cross. So it's not a guarantee for players. It's a coach's decision. So I'm only recruiting players that I probably would say all of them can come back because I'm recruiting players I like to coach, but it's not like an automatic thing. I think that it's going to be competitive this year, which is a good thing because my job is to try to get players and better than the players we have, to bring our level up. And their job as players is they have an advantage of being here, they know the system, and they got to improve. So I think the competition is good and healthy. I think the challenge will be having so many players because the reality is some players aren't going to play. So I think that you have to improve. And I think the tough thing about this generation is they want immediate gratification. So not a lot of players are willing to put in the work to improve. And then that's why you see a lot of kids transferring. So, I mean, if you look at like Oregon, I think they've had like 6 players transfer. If you look at Syracuse, they've had 12. I think the positive thing, if you look at Arizona, all the players that have transferred here have been players that haven't played at all. So we haven't had any players that have played it. In other programs, the players that are playing a lot of minutes are transferring. So like we haven't had that, which I think we're fortunate. And I'm someone who I support it. If you're here and not playing like Tara and Mara, and I can help you go somewhere where you're going to be happy and you don't want to work it out and try to fight and maybe not play till your senior year, I'm okay with that. But it's very rare nowadays to have a player from a freshman to a senior that doesn't play and that can maybe be optimistic about playing their senior year. I think it's extremely rare with this climate of women's basketball and with the transfer portal. So you do not like it. When I was at Washington, we had some players that did that. They didn't play till their senior year. I don't know if I'll see that here. There might, into coaching. I think it's just too easy now to jump ship and change. And I think kids are okay with changing multiple times, and their parents let them. Like my parents would have never let me change. They would have said, absolutely not. You're going to stick it out and you're going to get better. So I don't see out of my team, like I would see maybe 2 parents saying that. Other person's like, yeah, go, you can go, or you should be playing. You know, it's like, it's just a totally different generation and mentality.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, cool. Thanks, you guys.